In this step, we are going to add classes and IDs to our structure. So we have our generic div, and you can have many divs. We don't want to abuse how many divs we use, but it's fine to use them. It's just a division of space. It's just a basic generic block level element. So I'm going to start with ID equals, and then in our quote marks, we'll call this container. And then I'm going to follow the ID with class equals container. Okay. I get talking about things and I realize I spell them wrong. All right, so container. Now, you're going to see me add ID and class to some of the elements, and the ID and the class will have the same name. And that is because we're going to use class to apply the style, and then later on we can use the ID or the identifier as a means to select a particular element or a particular area if we wanted to jump to that area with navigation, or if we wanted to control that element with, let's say, JavaScript or something like that. Okay, so header, we're only using header once, so we're going to leave this alone. We added an ID and a class to be able to target this specific div. Now the section, in our example, our sections are going to be the same, but that might not always be the case. So we're going to add ID equals, and we're just going to abbreviate our section. We're going to call this section 1, just SEC. And then we will add class. So we added ID, section 1, class, and we'll say section 1. And then I'm just going to copy my ID and my class and add to each, and then update the name like so. Now we will add section 3. And so now we have our ID and our class section 3. So we can target each of the sections very specifically. The aside, there's only one, so we'll just leave aside alone. The same is true of main, and the same will be true of footer. So we can just use class names for elements which are generic, or which we would use many times, or elements which we use more than once, and we will likely position them differently, or there is the likelihood we'll position them differently. And then the ID, I'm just adding the IDs now as an identifier in case we add navigation and maybe we want to jump to these specific areas.